Welcome everyone. Today is Tuesday, June the 9th, and I am so glad to be back here. Today we are going to explore the fascinating connection between your digestive health, your gut health, and immune system. We started exploring immune system the last week, so being true to who I am, I'll definitely review a little bit in a single slide so that there is that connection between what we did last week and connect it to this week. You will actually learn this week what a microbiome is, why it matters, and as always, some practical ways to support your digestive health through everyday food choices and lifestyle choices. And this is not about expensive supplements to support your digestive health. It's about connecting the science and finding real food choices that will help you day in and day out to keep your digestive health in place and also your immune health in top shape, right? It's not coming winter that we think about immune health. Immune health is something that happens every single day, every single meal, every single snack. Okay, so with that, I want to take you through what to expect for today. We will talk about your GI system, and I am a big believer in presenting the science in easy, digestible way so that you can learn why you are doing certain things the way that you are. We will connect it to the microbiome, understand what actually lives inside us. Again, that science in very simple digestible terms. You will see the connection between your digestive health and your immunity, why your immunity actually starts with your gut health, and then what happens when that delicate microbiome balance kind of breaks down. What can you do to build that balance back in terms of having that probiotics and prebiotics all from food? We will curiously explore the strains that you might have seen in some of the foods that you already have, and then connect it to the prebiotics, the fibers, and then we will also discuss about some daily habits, how to kind of break it down so that it's simple and doable for you. And there is a curious quick quiz at the end to test what you have learned. Of course, there is no passing grade. A failure is also okay, but it's just a fun quiz at the end. So that's the layout for today. From the last class, these are your key takeaways. I am sure you would remember that beautiful house and the castle that we discussed last time. Looking at that home with the fences, with the walls, with the weather stripping, with the security alarm system, the sophisticated security system as that multi-layered defense that our body has, right? We kind of connected it to the skin, our the mucosal layer inside, and then also kind of looking at our digestive system, the gut as that kitchen security system where everything is kind of sampled and looked at. And then we also discussed the two layers, right? You have the innate immune system which you are born with, and then you also have that adaptive immune system which learns from every invader or every germ that gets into your system and remembers it. Remember that mug shot that it takes and then keeps it and files it away. So we looked at that. In the last class, we also looked at how our our GI, our gastrointestinal, is the ground zero, because 70 to 80% of our immunity actually lives in our gut, and that way it actually provides that direct information to your defenses so that your body can protect itself. We also mentioned about the 4 pillars discuss how nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress management plays a key role for you to have that strong immune system so that your body is able to protect yourself, right? So that's the groundwork that we laid the last time. And as I mentioned, you know, I am a big believer in bringing in bits and pieces of how our body works, how different systems in our body works, not just one part of our body works, how the systems work together, and what is in our power to be able to do every single day so that we are taking care of that specific system. Again, as you know, to kind of connect whatever we are discussing today to food, I have a sauteed bok choy and mushroom recipe here. How many of you have tasted bok choy before? Yay, okay. So there are some, it's one of the easiest cruciferous vegetable that can be prepared. If you are someone who doesn't like the bitterness of kale or arugula or cabbage, bok choy is that taste-friendly cruciferous vegetables that you could experiment with to see if it works for you. So at the end of our session, we have the sauteed bok choy and mushroom recipe, and on the other side of your handout is the prebiotics and the probiotics list, which we will discuss as we are going through our discussion today. Okay, so that kind of takes you from the last class to the end of today's class, and I'll kind of, you know, piece the dots in between together. Okay. So, why does digestive health matter? You know, let the numbers here kind of sink into you, right? Around 70 to 80% of your immune system actually lives in your GI. We will look at, you know, what your GI is comprised of, but that much of immunity is actually in your gut system. And if you believe it, there are around 100 trillion microorganisms. I was trying to put the zeros behind and I lost it. So I was like, I'm just going to put T there. So these are very small microorganisms that are doing a lot of heavy lifting in terms of communication between your GI, your brain, your endocrine system. So it's a very intricate system there, and that microorganism really thrives when we actually feed it, and we will discuss about that. And around from this 100 trillion microorganisms that call our GI system the home, around 1,500 bacterial species have been researched to form that healthy microbiome, the healthy population of microorganisms that reside in your gut. So the key takeaway is that, you know, good gut health isn't just about digestion. It's about also making sure that you have that balance of species in your gut. And how does it come? Again, not from expensive supplements, but by making sure that you are incorporating a few foods every day consistently. Again, that consistency really depends on how you are able to implement it in a way that works for you. So we will actually talk about, you know, how the gut microbiome touches the immunity, your mood, even your energy levels, and also prevent many of the chronic diseases that we see around, right? So that's the reason why digestive health matters. It really touches your hormonal health, your energy, and your mood balance, and all of that, right? So so what does the GI system look for? Anybody remember the biology class that you took in your high school maybe? Right? Where does it all start? Does it start here? Does it start here? Where does the GI system start? It starts here in your mouth, right? So that's the first, I don't have a picture of our mouth there, but that's the place where food enters into your GI. So it's this long tube right from your mouth to your anus. So the whole thing is your GI system. Your mouth and your esophagus are that conduit into your actual digestive system here. Mouth is the only place where mechanical chewing happens. How many of us really sniff our food and do not even chew it many times? I have done it. I do that. My lunch is usually very, very, very fast, right? But there are times I catch myself and I slow myself down. So that mastication, that chewing in your mouth is very, very key, so that the enzymes in your saliva can mix with the food and start the breakdown of your food right there in your saliva. And the saliva, the enzymes do have some antimicrobial properties that can help, kill pathogens there itself. From your mouth and, through that pipe, the esophagus, your food enters the stomach, that small pouch, and that small pouch has acid, right? And that acid plays a key role in starting the digestion of proteins, right? So stomach is the place where protein digestion starts happening, and there is an enzyme called pepsin that breaks down the proteins, and it also destroys microbes before they even reach your small intestine, right? And small intestine is the place where absorption of nutrients happen, and small intestine is where the bulk of your immune system, that 70 to 80% that I was mentioning, resides, right? And the large intestine, so small intestine is this windy little pipe here, and your large intestine, the colon, is this big pipe around, right? So food comes in here, gets broken down. As it passes through this place, there are more enzymes that get into your small intestine from your pancreas. Bile enters into your small intestine when the food with that acidic, component goes via this, and then it gets into the small intestine and goes further digestion, and nutrients are absorbed from the small intestine. And from the small intestine, the undigested food, which is basically fiber and anything that has not been digested, goes into the large intestine, and in the large intestine is where the most, big population of our microbiomes reside there, and they ferment the fiber into something called short chain fatty acids. We call it SCFA. So from now on, you will see the short form SCFA there, and that microbiome plays a big role in training your immunity to see, okay, is this something that is friendly to me as a human being, or is this something that needs to go out, right? So that fiber fermentation and the short chain fatty acids play a big role in training your immunity. And as I mentioned before, the liver and pancreas, once the food process passes through the small place here, which is called the duodenum, that's where the bile and enzymes mix, and they help break down the fats and make them more absorbable to your system. So that's like 100 feet view of what your GI system looks like, right? So was it pretty easily understandable? Okay, so let's now get into our gut microbiome and see what it is, right? So the gut microbiome, think of it as like the rainforest. There is diverse amount of flora and fauna there in the rainforest, right? Like the Amazon rainforest maybe. It's not just one type of tree. There is like 100 trillion species of flora and fauna in the rainforest. So think of your gut biome like the rainforest. The idea there is it really thrives on diversity, right? And when something here is so diverse, you need diversity in the type of food you eat as well, right? So what is microbiome? It's a very complex ecosystem here. We have only probably scratched the surface of it, so research is still, going on to identify what are the different types of microbiomes there. We only know a little bit now. As I mentioned, there are trillions of bacteria, viruses, fungi that call your digestive tract their home, and most of them, as I mentioned, they reside in your large intestine, in your colon, and they really need that fiber to thrive, the prebiotics to thrive. We will look at what is a prebiotic, and this is something that I really want to highlight. Every one of our microbiome is actually unique, and what is it defined by? It's defined by how we eat, our lifestyle, and also that genetics too, right? There is more scientific research that's happening here, but it's really driven by your genetics. But having certain genes is not the destination. You can actually fine-tune your genes by investing efforts into the way you eat, the way you move, and also how you set up your environment, looking at cleaning supplies in your home, looking at what you have, and looking at toxins that might actually influence your microbiome is something that you can do with regard to how you set up your home. So when there is diversity in your microbiome, research actually shows that you have better immune health and better GI health. And you know what? Remember, the microbiomes also influence your energy levels, meaning the microbiomes produce vitamins such as vitamin B12, right, which is very, very key in that production of energy, produces vitamin K, and it actually even regulates your appetite. So when you have a good microbiome here, you are much more in tune with, how much hunger you feel, when you feel satisfied, and it really communicates with your immune system too, right? So making sure that you have a good gut bacteria population is very key to make sure that you are in top energy, you are in good immune health, and you are in good mood as well, right? So it's a very intricate system, to be said the least, right? Now, let's see what's the GI immune connection. What are the components of it? So there are three key areas that I want to reinforce. Our gut is like a pipe, right? You saw it's like this winded pipe. That pipe has a single layer barrier, and that single layer barrier is called epithelial cells, and these are like the weather strippings in your windows, right? They really keep that. It's like as I mentioned here, it's a gatekeeper, it's a security system there, and it really controls what enters your body and what stays out, right? So maintaining the health of that gut barrier is very key, and microbiomes play a big role there. That good gut bacteria makes some antimicrobial compounds, even makes that epithelial cell supporting compounds to make sure that that gut integrity, the lining of the pipe is nice and strong, so that it doesn't allow any food or anything that is not supposed to be in your body leak out through the gut epithelial cells. And as I mentioned before, the short chain fatty acids from that good gut microbiome actually regulates that immune response as well, right? So if you have good digestive health, you may notice that come winter, if you catch a cold, you will actually get through it like in 2-3 days with very less symptoms, right? So making sure that you have good gut health is very, very key, so that the communication between your GI and your immune system is actually happening really well. So what happens when the balance break down? There is a very delicate balance between the good gut bacteria and maybe some other, there are some it's not just the good. There is that fine balance between some bacteria that are not so good for us and the big population of good gut bacteria, right? So you might have heard this term called dysbiosis, and that dysbiosis is nothing but it's an imbalance in that gut microbiome which can weaken your immune defense. And what are some common causes of why that balance breaks down? Things that we know, any eating pattern that is high in processed food, sugar and saturated fat. So if you happen to pick up Coke today, one Coke or two Coke, again it's going, even if it's zero, there is definitely that sugar component in some form or shape there. Look at what food you are eating. If highly processed chips kind of come into your eating pattern, ask that question, how am I supporting my immune health? Saturated fat, again there is some correlation between how saturated fat, processed food and sugar can actually affect that delicate balance there. Overuse of antibiotics have also been shown to affect that gut epithelial integrity. Chronic stress and poor sleep have also been evidenced to actually influence that imbalance. And as I mentioned before, exposure to environment toxins as well. So big thing here, look at what you eat every day, make conscious choices, mindful choices every time. Even if you are eating outside, it's still possible to eat in a way that you are supporting your immune health. What are some potential effects by having any of these causes? Increased inflammation, you are more susceptible to infections, you might notice bloating, gas and discomfort. And who wants to feel bloated? None of us wants to feel bloated, right? And then as I mentioned before, because of that inflammation and that imbalance in your GI microbial population, you might even experience that you are more prone to infection. If the person near sneezes during winter, there is a high chance that you might get it if you have that microbial disbalance. And then that microbial imbalance is also linked to allergies, even diabetes and mood imbalance as well. So net, pay attention to how you set up your eating pattern, how you pay attention to your other lifestyle choices such as sleep. That night shift maintenance happens during your sleep. So making sure that you have a good night's sleep, investing efforts in that sleep hygiene, meaning winding down, no blue screen at night, reading or really calming yourself down will all play a great role in making sure that you have a healthy immune system. And there is also some relation between good digestive health and bone health too, right? For us divas who has gone through any hormonal receptive cancers, right? Good bone health is very key. So making sure that you have a good digestive health, meaning eating well and looking at your bowel patterns so that they are regular, tells you how healthy your bones could be, right? So that's another point there. So let's see, what are probiotics? What are probiotics? Probiotics are, I love this quote from World Health Organization. They have defined probiotics as live microorganisms when had in adequate amounts that confer a health benefit on the host. Who is the host? It's you as the human being, and these are the live microorganisms, which means they need to make their way to your large intestine, right? They should not die off in the process. They are basically bacteria and yeast, lot of beneficial bacteria, and we will look at some strains. Lactobacillus and bifidobacterium are some of the most researched strains there, and also some yeasts. They are basically found in food, where in naturally fermented foods such as yogurt, kefir, kimchi and sauerkraut, and I have sauerkraut here today as a side for our recipe today here. So, if you are able to include yogurt every day, even in small amounts, it does not have to be milk based yogurt, even plant milk based yogurt is perfectly fine. Anybody here tasted kefir? Kefir. Yeah, we did it once. It's a tangy, it looks like buttermilk, but it has more that live culture inside it. It's tangy. You can actually use it in place of any ranch because it has similar taste basically. So, kefir. Kimchi comes from Korea. It's again cabbage which is fermented using some spices. It's very, very tasty, and sauerkraut is nothing but cabbage which is salted, and then in this one there is some caraway seeds that is added, which means it's naturally fermented, right? There is nothing added. Supplements, it's always a question mark. They are right and left, but they are not regulated, so you never know whether that pill that you might have paid hundreds of dollars, if it's actually doing anything to you, or is it harmful to your system. There is no way. Our body definitely recognizes these foods, and it's more likely that it will really influence your digestive health, right? So, I really want to reinforce that question mark against supplements, because probiotic supplements are not cheap, whereas you can have food with 1/8 the cost and make sure that your body is able to absorb them compared to supplements. Okay, any questions here? Okay, so how do probiotics work? There are multiple steps that happens when you, there are 4 mechanisms, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. When you eat a probiotic food, the live organisms, microorganisms in that probiotic food actually sticks to your intestinal wall. They actually have a war or a fight with any harmful bacteria that might be residing in your gut for space and nutrients, and they grow there. Once they grow there, they actually produce compounds like those short chain fatty acids, and they actually signal those immune cells, the T cells and the B cells, and tell them that, hey, get stronger, there is something here and we need to take care of it. And once those short chain fatty acids and a number of antimicrobial compounds are produced, they actually strengthen that lining in your gut, that weather stripping in your gut, so that it's able to prevent any toxins or any other germs from crossing into the bloodstream. And once they strengthen, they actually even modulate the production of antibodies such as IgA, and help also modulate any inflammatory processes that are going inside your body. So, they actually do a very complex function inside your digestive system, and it all starts with a small cup of yogurt, or a small, even like 2 to 3 ounces of kefir, maybe like 1 tablespoon of sauerkraut. That's all you need to start colonizing your digestive intestinal wall with those good gut bacteria. Do you see the power of food in small amounts to be able to influence your digestive health, right? You don't need a lot, it's just small quantities in there, okay? So what's a good yogurt? Good yogurt, what do you like? Fruit yogurt. Fruit yogurt? Yeah. Is there a specific brand that you will usually buy? Chobani, anything with a little taste to it, not just bland. Yeah, absolutely. The Chobani ones these days, they put actual fruit in it, right? They do have protein too these days along with it, so totally fine. If you like plain yogurt, you can buy the plain yogurt and design it with the fruit that you like. If you do not like Greek yogurt, Skyr yogurt is it's much more, texture wise. creamier and a little bit tangy too. I like that. If you are someone who cannot tolerate, any type of dairy, soy milk based yogurt out there, there is almond milk based yogurt out there. So choose any yogurt, and you will see in the label that it will say has live cultures or live organisms, and it will list those names there, right? So yeah, you can choose Chobani ones. Make sure that there is no added sugar in it. They don't have it these days because they actually use fruit to bring that flavor and that sweetness in there, right? Yep. Let's see. Thank you for that question. So what are some probiotic strains that are widely used? Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium. These are some names, and L. acidophilus helps in lactose digestion. That's why it gets fermented in the yogurt. L. rhamnosus actually prevents antibiotic driven diarrhea. I don't know about you. I can reflect back and can remember that when I had antibiotics maybe 2-3 years before, diarrhea happened. When I have yogurt, it stops, right? So those small microorganisms are very, very, very powerful, and this particular strain supports your gut barrier. L. plantarum is anti-inflammatory and it supports that digestive comfort. Bifidobacterium, again very commonly found in fermented foods, enhances that mucus layer immunity and also boosts certain antibodies, IgA antibodies. B. longum reduces inflammation and actually helps in colon health, and B. breve actually aids in nutrient absorption and fights any pathogens. So basically the idea is, having a food that is rich in different strains, right? So that's the idea there. So some probiotic rich foods, I think we discussed most of them. Yogurt, look for that live active cultures on the label. Kefir is that tangy, you can see it in the dairy wall. Lifeway is the brand that I have seen. There is unsweetened one which comes in a blue bottle. The other ones are sweetened. There is a strawberry one, I think. There is a blueberry one too. But you can actually buy the unsweetened one, and when you make smoothies, instead of milk, you can actually use kefir. That way you are getting probiotic, and I think a serving has around 10 grams of protein there too, right? So kefir is a wonderful probiotic rich food. Kimchi comes from Korea, and it's just fermented cabbage. Sometimes they include other vegetables too. Sauerkraut, you can make it at home, but it's very simple to make it. But if you don't have time, always grab it from the shelf. Kombucha is fermented tea. Anybody tasted it? Yeah, no, I know sometime maybe next class I'll bring a small bottle, right? It's again fermented tea with that beneficial bacteria and yeast. Miso and tempeh. Miso is fermented soy. Put it into and made it into a paste, and tempeh is again fermented soy. The actual pod, it's fermented and made it into a brick. Right, so tempeh, so these are some probiotic rich foods. Choose one or two and then make it a point to include it in your eating pattern.
I'm not real familiar with some of those foods.
Mm-hmm.
In that picture, are some of those foods, which of those foods are shown in that picture?
I think it's mixed in there. This is yogurt. Right. This is, this is bone broth.
Okay.
Bone broth, you can, it's a high mineral and probiotic rich food there too. The remaining are, this is some kind of sauerkraut. I picked it up from the presentation deck basically. Well, all these are fiber rich, so those are prebiotics, which we will discuss in the next slide. But what else? The pictures are indications of what is possible. This is tempeh.
Okay.
Tempeh. What else?
What is that under that?
This one? I don't know what this is. I have to ask whoever made it. Yeah. And this is buttermilk or kefir, right? So, yeah, it's a mix of probiotic and fiber-rich foods. That's what I can say. No problem. This one? Yeah, kind of looks like that, yeah. Prebiotic rich food. Garlic, onions, leeks, bananas and apples. So in your oatmeal in the morning, oats is a prebiotic. Prebiotic is food for your probiotics, which is basically the non-digestible fiber. Prebiotics is the non-digestible fiber, and it helps, nourish that good gut bacteria and help them thrive. Is it hot here or am I hot? Other vegetables, asparagus and artichokes, oats, whole grains, brown rice, quinoa, those all are prebiotic food. Flax seeds, chia seeds, which you can add in oats, chicory root, you can see chicory root in some of the yogurts. They actually mix it inside that, right? So these are some prebiotic foods, and I have mentioned it in this handout as well. So there are probiotics. They are living microorganisms, bacteria. They can be vulnerable to temperature, to the acid in your tummy. They actually exist in your gastrointestinal system, and it's important for supporting your immune function, digestion, and overall gastrointestinal health. And if you see here, there is a list of probiotic rich foods that we discussed in the slide as well. Supplements is always a question mark. There are ways by which you can get it from food. And the prebiotics is basically anything that is fiber rich, but basically these have high prebiotic capacity, basically beans, asparagus, mushrooms, that's why I chose mushrooms here, garlic, onions, leeks, banana, oats, apple and flax. So choose, foods that you like and incorporate it. That way you have a good combination of probiotics and prebiotics, and that actually leads to the term called symbiotic. When you have probiotic and prebiotic together, for example, when I make the recipe today, at the end, when I serve it for you, I'll add some sauerkraut. That makes, it's a symbiotic, meaning there is probiotic from the bok choy, probiotic from the sauerkraut and the prebiotic from the mushrooms and the bok choy, along with garlic too, and the onions too, right? So that's the idea there. Probiotics are the beneficial bacteria. These are the foods. They help restore that microbial diversity, supports your immune cells. The prebiotics is food for the probiotics, and it's basically, garlic, onion, oats, and the list of foods that is here in the handout. And these two together provide that combined power and helps your good bacteria survive and enhance the immune response and nutrient absorption as well. How can you build a gut-friendly plate? Those fruits and vegetables, fill half of your plate with those fruits and vegetables. You can include fermented soy daily. Even if you make tacos, you can actually include a tablespoon of sauerkraut as a dressing at the top, right, or as that icing on the cake at the top. There are many ways you can include these. Choose whole grains over refined carbohydrate and add that variety, because it's rainforest, right, that lives in your gut, and lot of water and limiting processed foods, added sugar and no alcohol for us cancer thrivers, right? And how can you build some simple daily habits? It's very, very, very simple to have a gut-friendly eating pattern. Morning, you could start your morning with some oatmeal topped with banana. Banana is that prebiotic. If you add a small serving of yogurt to it, those two together kind of brings that symbiotic power in there. Afternoon, whatever lunch you are having, you can add a small side of kimchi or sauerkraut. Small servings really add up. For snack, reach for an apple or banana, or you can have kefir with some berries of your choice for that prebiotic fiber and that probiotics together. Dinner, build around vegetables, lean protein and whole grains, and add a fermented side of your choice. And as a ongoing ongoing commitment, choose to add 30 plus different plant foods. Research says that the more diverse plant food you have, the more diverse is your microbial population inside your gut, right? How many of us here love oatmeal? Yeah, there you go, right? You like yogurt? Yes. And then apple? Yes, right. So you see how easy it is to kind of build a gut friendly plate, and it's not rocket science at all. It's very easy to build that good immune response. So key takeaways: your gut houses the most of your immune system. Make sure you add probiotics and prebiotics as food so that they together can help fuel the growth of the good gut bacteria in your body. Choose the fermented foods that you love. Feel a little adventurous to experiment too. Look for kefir if you go grocery shopping, or when you go grocery shopping, look for kimchi. Kimchi can be a good, I like it as a pickle on the side. Again, look for plant in every meal that you include, and small consistent changes in your daily pattern, eating pattern, can actually make a lifelong meaningful difference to your gut health. You ready for the quiz? It's the helpful or harmful. Tell me 2 foods that can support your gut health. Yogurt. What else? Kimchi. Sauerkraut. Mushrooms. Good. That's more than 2. Let's see what it reveals. Yeah, yogurt. Right. Leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables too, or mushrooms, right? Fermented foods, berries, whole grains, oats, legumes. What are some harmful or not supportive foods?
Processed substance.
Mm-hmm.
High sugar.
High sugar. Anything else that's coming up for you?
Sodas.
Yeah, sodas, right? So let's see what comes up there. Ultra processed food, sometimes deep fried foods too, because of the saturated fat in there. Always go for air fried or baked options even when you dine out. Added sugar, sugary drinks, artificial sweeteners are not gut healthy at all, right? So none of those artificial sweeteners or additives. Red meat, when you have it multiple times, right, once or twice in a week, right, is okay. But excess of red and processed meats have been shown to not support that gut, supporting good gut bacteria there. Alcohol and excess caffeine has also some correlation on not supporting that good gut health. Okay, are we ready to get started with our cooking? I need to speed up, right? Or we started a little late, so should be good even if I go 5 minutes, right? So I'm going to look at our recipe today. It's sauteed bok choy and mushrooms. Bok choy and mushrooms together add the plant fiber. So I have olive oil here, going to add some olive oil and have this heat up. And in the meantime, as it heats up, I am going to take you through the recipe. So that plant fiber supports digestive health, and it will actually make this dish both light and satisfying. Mushrooms, as one of our divas mentioned, does have that prebiotic compound. They are called beta glucans. Okay, you don't have to know about the scientific name but for those of you who might be little curious, that's the prebiotic compound there, and it helps nourish that beneficial gut bacteria. Bok choy gives that additional fiber, and as I mentioned, it's very nutrient dense. It's a cruciferous vegetable, meaning it's very supportive for us cancer thrivers. It provides a compound called sulforaphane. Anybody recognizes sulforaphane? It's that magic compound that's hidden in cruciferous vegetable, and it has been evidenced to bring down inflammatory activities in our cells, right?
So it's just a type of cabbage, is that?
No,
Bok choy.
yeah, bok choy is a type of cabbage. It's a Chinese cabbage, right? It's a type of cabbage, but sulforaphane is in actual normal cabbage. It's in kale, it's in arugula, but bok choy is that taste friendly cruciferous vegetable. It's very light and you don't have that bitterness basically. What do we have as ingredients today? 2 teaspoons of olive oil. I did buy mushrooms. This is just the baby bella mushroom. If you have heard anywhere that mushroom helps support your immune function, it's because it has that prebiotic in it. That prebiotic actually strengthens your gut bacteria, gut lining, the gut health. It helps that immune cells in your gut function better, and that's why you might see mushrooms being sold as supplements, right? So, but we never know how good it is. You might have seen mushroom coffee, you might have seen mushroom capsules, but you know, it's all it's not made in a way that Mother Earth meant it to be, right? So that's why they rave about mushroom as an immune supporting food. Bok choy, quarter sliced. How does bok choy look like? I have quarter sliced it, but for those of you who are not familiar with bok choy, this is how it looks. It's there in HEB. Okay, all you do is buy it and then slice off the bottom and look at the top leaves. If you think you need to discard any, for example, I would discard this one and kind of, you know, take out a little from the top and wash it. There will usually be mud there, so wash it nicely, and you can either cut or slice it vertically and put it raw in your salad as a base in place of lettuce or along with lettuce, or you can choose to dice it, you know, quarter length or half length, however you choose to, and saute it like how we will be sauteing today. So it's pretty easy to prepare too. Takes around 2-3 minutes, that's all, nothing more than that. What else do we have here? I have red onions. Again, from that list you will see that it's high in prebiotics. I have cloves that I have, fresh cloves that I have minced. Tamari sauce, I chose not to bring it today because tamari is a little higher in sodium and I'm using salt today, so I didn't find a need for that when I made it at home. Tamari does add a little bit of umaminess, so say if you are just making bok choy without the mushroom, then I might add a little bit of tamari, but it's not something that's going to, you know, make or break the recipe. So yeah, umami is a taste. How do I mention it? Yeah, how do I describe it? If you like mushroom when it is sauteed, that's the taste. or soy sauce. That is that umami. Umaminess is a very difficult taste to explain. It's that deep, that depth of flavor that you can experience basically. So in Chinese foods, you might feel like it has more umaminess there. It's a taste that is hard to explain, I guess, like sweet or salty. Those are flavors that we tend
Get
to.
around the soy sauce.
Yes, soy sauce. Tamari is basically soy sauce, but it's tad a bit little more lesser in sodium. It's actually brewed fermented soy. It's actually the liquid that comes from that fermentation process. Water and then salt to taste. Those are the ingredients. So pretty straightforward. So directions: heat oil in a skillet. The oil is hot. I'm going to add onions, 1/4 cup. Quarter cup onions and some garlic too. I love garlic. Garlic always adds to the flavor, right? And it's also a prebiotic. So why not add it for the flavor? And then mushrooms. I'm going to add half of it here and save the half for the evening class. And salt to taste. Saute it. Smells good? Yeah. The onion and the garlic usually does the magic. If you are someone who cannot have onion and garlic, maybe some of our divas who are going through treatment, if you cannot have onion and garlic, there is always garlic and onion infused olive oil that's available in shelf, and you can add it for flavor. It doesn't have those FODMAPs that might irritate your gut when you're going through treatment, but that's a way for you to enjoy that flavor. If you are someone who cannot tolerate onion, garlic. You made it yourself? Oh, how do you do it? How do you make infused? Do you infuse olive oil? How do you do that? You do all of that?
Oregano oil for my cousin to take for allergies and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oregano has antimicrobial properties. So, yeah, it does.
All the meds and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Sit forever, huh? mushrooms are sauteed, and then I have diced or sliced bok choy that goes into it. Salt to taste. I am someone who puts less salt, so if you feel you need more salt, you are more than welcome to come here. What is that?
So that's the second time you put salt.
I did not get it. Huh? What's that?
That was the second time you put salt.
Yeah, because I put
So
a
you put the salt on the onion and the
yes,
garlic and then put it on.
little bit here,
Okay.
so that it all gels into it. And when you add salt to onions, onions cook a little faster because the water from the onion kind of comes out. So that helps in the cooking process as well. A little bit of water on top. And I am going to keep it closed for a few minutes, 2 minutes, and then we can enjoy it. You can add bok choy with any salad like apples and bok choy and whatever else is your salad, you can mix it all together. So bok choy is a very versatile cruciferous vegetable there. Okay, so thank you very much for coming today, and we will enjoy our bok choy mushroom, and I look forward to seeing you in your class next time. Thank you.